changing, the world is spinning and I'm stuck with you. Hey, Mr. Candyman, I fucking hate you. Mr. Candyman, I fucking hate you. Mr. Candyman, Mr. Candyman, Mr. Candyman. What you think?
I think it was good.
Hate you. Do you hate me too? Candyman, do you hate me too? 'Cause I hate you. Candyman, do you hate me too? 'Cause I hate you.
That was dope.
We can do another one.
I didn't record it.
Fucking love you. You scare me straight out of my dreams. You scare me straight through. Mr. Candyman, I fucking hate you. I ran out of breath towards the end.
Sometimes it seems like life is an endless loop, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It can drive you insane. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. But what happens when you wake up? What happens when you want to find new waters? See me, I'm gonna create my own current. I'm the captain of my vessel, and the seas we're entering have never been explored before. What do I use as my guide? My intuition, my instinct, and my intellect. Who do I have on my side? Everything in existence. So what's stopping me? Everything that's not in existence. We just getting started though.
Turns up with the gang, turns up with the gang. We don't bleed the same, we don't bleed the same. It's levels to this game, levels to this game. Bitch, I feel like Bane, bringing change, turn up. Let my car soar, now I'm on tour like 5 horses. And they all yours, gotta make sure look to my car door. Damn, got my fam straight and the band straight and the land straight. Man, I need more steak and more cake, let's go more crazy. Damn, that freedom feels so good when you can't take a front out your hood. What's good? Got the luck, yeah, knocked on wood 3 times, meanwhile making moves like Suge. By this touch, how my words like gold, gotta dig in your mind just to crack the code.
You think I got here by listening to you, fool? I got here by listening to my jewels that reflect my nature and in turn I make tunes. I respect all nature but none for fake dudes. You see, it's a distinction between people who permanently blinking and the ones that's open to the thinking. I'm reaching into levels beyond your frequency and you can't see. Perception limited canopy over your head blocking the light. What's that? Shade? Shadows cannot exist when you're inside the cave unless they're cast by the cast. I got a cache filled with cash. The catch is that the trap may lead to complications. Don't matter. I'll call my dude who have his exonerated. The odds that I'm faded in the booth is probably maybe. The odds that you jaded in suits is like a home run from Babe Ruth. But who knows the truth?
All of this winning a young God been doing, you think I ain't take a loss? It costs to be the boss, but it pays when you played your spot. Up from the grave and off of the blocks, into the cave, no longer a slave. I took all the pain and made me a Glock. Now I can't stop, I'm aiming that job. The Most High took both sides and brought them close like a bow tie. At your juggler, I'm the Punisher, posted in your space like furniture. Alternative right, we stepping at night and we don't stop in the rising. A new age looming over horizon, we built towers, not talking Verizon. Too late, we started uprising, unlocking the secrets to highs and lows. No use in fighting the flow. Surrender to God, then grab your rope. A Bentley down the street, the same as me. Up in the stream, my molecules heating, I'm feeling like steam. The game was mean, but it made me a king. All of this winning a young God been doing, you think I ain't take a loss? It costs to be the boss, but it pays when you played your spot. Up from the grave and off of the blocks, into the cave, no longer a slave. I took all the pain and made me a Glock. Now I can't stop, I'm aiming that job.
They say knowledge is power. Well, if that's the case, then knowledge of self that's got to be true wealth. As I went deeper and deeper into myself, I began to understand that everything I was seeking was inside of me. And I was the only one with a set of keys into infinite possibilities. My dreams became harder and harder to distinguish from reality, and life began to look like a choose-your-own-adventure book. The more I learned, the more possibilities opened up. The world became bigger and bigger, and I began to see the patterns and learn the algorithms. When you talk about life being loops, there's a few different factors that goes into that. You know, you got reincarnation. That's a major one. The way I think about reincarnation is every day is a life, and every night is a death. And depending on what you do multiple times a day or multiple days in a row, that determines how much familiarity you build with a certain pattern or a certain loop, a certain cycle, right? As you continue with your life, you start getting into certain cycles or certain loops. And I believe that when you build time, like when you put time into doing something, you are able to remember what you did depending on how much time you put into it, right? So as you keep living and living, you gain more experience because you've had more time to experience. And that means you're gaining more memory. So as you start to remember, you're able to escape from where you are currently, and you go back to a different cycle or a different universe. And you're able to still be in this universe, but really you're in a different universe. So this is kind of the concept of freedom, and I would say like flying or gliding, because you're able to be up in the air instead of on the ground. Because on the ground, this is physical. It's like everything is dense. As you ascend, as you go higher up, things are lighter. Things are, they flow more easily, just like the wind. The wind flows, right? I feel like it's a few different traps that people get caught up in. These traps prevent you from remembering, and they keep you locked into only doing. And when you talk about reincarnation, if you're constantly doing things and you're not having time to think about what you're doing, then you're in an endless cycle of just doing and doing. And you probably don't really know why you're doing. You're just doing, that's just because that's what everyone else has done. They just do stuff, right? And I think a major thing that people do is give their power away. And one of the things that people give a lot of power to is religion or belief in something outside of themselves. And this makes you feel like you have something that's probably lending you power or giving you strength, but really you're lending your strength and your power away. For example, you might take Jesus, right? A lot of people believe that Jesus is just an archetype for a Messiah or a Savior. This archetype plays itself out in many different ways throughout history, throughout culture, like even every day. Somebody might do something and you might be like, damn, that's what Jesus would do. But the way I think about Jesus is just an aspect of me. I don't have to be trapped in that certain like cycle of always being a savior, or always being a Messiah, or always compromising yourself. I can be what I'm looking for. I could be the change I'm looking for. I could change the universe in the way that I want it to change instead of, actually I would say I can change myself instead of trying to change the universe. Because I am the universe. And this is the idea of external versus internal, because the external is a reflection of the internal. So however things are looking outside is just showing you what you have inside of you. And when you're able to recognize certain cycles inside of you, then you could recognize the cycles outside of you. And as you bring these two together, you get harmony and freedom. And That's what we're looking for, is harmony and freedom. And with that freedom comes power. Also becomes responsibility. Now you're responsible for a universe, for your life. You're not giving that responsibility away anymore. And you got to decide, is it worth it? And only you know the answer. Everything is worth something. Some things aren't worth anything. It's all your perception, your perspective, how things work in your universe. And how things work in your universe is an accumulation of all the things that have happened. So as you go back and you remember certain experiences that you've had, you can understand how that's led to experiences you're having now or experiences you will have. And if you weren't as aware then as you are now, then you have to apply your thinking now to how you were then, but also analyze your thinking then. And you realize, like, when you come into the world, you're a blank slate. As things happen to you and you don't have a full understanding of who you are yet, you let outside things define you. And when you let outside things define you, you're giving your power away. So if you let a school define you, a religion, a race, a sexual preference, a political preference, socioeconomic status, like whatever label or construct that they created, whatever you want to place onto it, if you let that define you, you're not you, you're something else. And that thing controls you, and it drains your energy, it takes power away from you. And until you take your power back, you're trapped in a cycle of reincarnation. You're doing the same thing over and over again. Music is one thing that we've seen change. I would say music and the way it influences culture. But around 2011, 2012, the music started changing. Like, honestly though, I feel like music is a reflection of the current state of the world though. So around that time, the world started changing as well. Especially in the city. Like, that's around the time when Chief Keef started coming out, and Dirk, and drill. Like, that's when drill started, and that's when Chicago had like 500 murders, and it was all across the news. Everybody's like Chirac. And that changed the music forever because Chicago influenced the whole world. Not only in terms of music, but just in terms of culture. Like, a lot of the words that people use is like Chicago slang. And it's crazy because like, it started from the music. And we just watched like, it become cool to be a gangbanger. Like, this shit crazy. We watched it become cool. Not only a gangbanger, but like, scammer, like just doing illegal hot shit. Like, it became cool. People started doing more drugs, bro. Like, and we watched like the music start taking over people's minds, like controlling them and trapping them. And nowadays, it's like the music has complete hold over a lot of people's minds, and it's influenced people to compromise their identity for something else. It's not only music, but because there's so much chaos in the world right now, because things are changing and shifting, people are looking to whatever they could use to try and get their mind off of something, to escape for a little bit. Man, it's wild out here right now. But at the same time, people are coming together and people are realizing like, yo, if we're gonna change the world, shit, we gotta do it together. We gotta do it together if we're finna change the world. And that's what we're gonna do. So right now we really like, we vibrating at that frequency of togetherness, of let's do something, let's build something, let's create, let's evolve. Things are looking up.